Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to ask, how realistic is a Cyclops Demolition vehicle? Meant to be a bit of fun, I've done a whole series of videos exploring other aspects of Astra Militarum lore, and check out this playlist here to see things like the Cadian war gear, the Chimera APC, and what it'd be like to fire the las gun. Like in those videos, I'll draw on my experience as a former Rough in the Australian Army to help bring to life this topic. So the Cyclops Demolition vehicle is a remote-controlled, unmanned vehicle. Weighing a chunky 1.5 tonnes, it's 2.5 metres long, 1.8 metres wide and 1.2 metres tall, which makes it similar in dimensions to the original mini vehicle, albeit 3 times as heavy. Being able to travel at 42 kilometres an hour on sill roads, it's pretty zippy, delivering what we can assume is an absolute crapload of explosives. Assuming half a tonne goes towards its engine, fuel reserves, some armour plating and other mechanical gubbins, it leaves 1 tonne of explosives, which is an absolute boatload. The largest amount of explosives I ever handled was the Claymore mine. This anti-personnel mine weighed 3.5 kilos of C4 and 700 ball bearings. Remote detonated, it fired the ball bearings in a forward direction, mincing any infantry target stood in front of it. Its use was either for ambush or in defensive position, and I used it several times in training, and the noise and percussion it produced was truly breathtaking. Now, what 1 tonne of explosives would feel like and do to a target is absolutely terrifying. The Iraq and Afghanistan war saw extensive use of IEDs or improvised explosive devices against coalition forces. Usually placed in a fixed position, they were sometimes vehicle-borne, with the driver taking a one-way trip. Given it's a vehicle, plenty of explosives could be placed on board, with a tonne of explosives being completely plausible. There are some videos online of them being detonated, and the destruction is truly terrifying. Now fast forward to the 41st millennium, and you can imagine that the forces of the Imperium of Man, using these to good measure, have represented the enemies of the Imperium. Now, given its manufacture required degree of investment, their use would be carefully planned. Used to destroy enemy hardpoints, clear obstacles like barbed wire, tank traps or minefields, destroy bridges, enemy vehicles if it can get close enough, or driven into a building being defended by enemy infantry, it would cause a significant amount of destruction. Now, with the enemy knowing that one of these things is rolling around, it would make it enemy number 1. We were probably needing to endure an absolute barrage of enemy fire to get into position. Whilst an armoured vehicle, I'd expect it to be able to withstand only small arms, with anything being medium or heavy firepower and probably being able to disable it. Now, the assigned Astra Militarum specialists are remotely controlling the vehicle via a Vox link. Working in pairs, I'd envisage one of them that controls the vehicle with the other acting as a spotter. Being Vox operated means it could be driven well beyond visual range, as long as the transmission is strong enough and not blocked by buildings or terrain or enemy interference. The spotter could move forward whilst the operator maintains safety, with the communication being possible via Vox beads. Other Astra Militarum forces could also coordinate its approach, and whilst not really mentioned in the 40k story, an aerial spotter drone could be immensely helpful in this situation, given a bird's eye view is obviously very advantageous. Also being a tracked vehicle and weigh 1.5 tonnes, be able to smash down foliage, battlefield debris, and possibly even breach lightly constructed buildings. Now historically, we've got a direct reference which has probably inspired the Cyclops. The Germans in World War II employed the Goliath tracked mine. Being either petrol or electronic engine propelled, they carried between 60 to 100 kilograms of explosives, with their use similar of intention to the Cyclops. Being the 1940s, they were operated via a control cable, had a miserable speed of just 6 kilometers an hour. 7,500 of them were built, seeing service across multiple theatres, and they were considered a failure due to their slow speed, lack of armour, vulnerable control cable, although when they did work, it caused tremendous effect. Also weighing between 60 to 100 kilos means it wasn't really man-portable, meaning given it had limited fuel reserves, it needed to be vehicle supported to transport it around the place. The Cyclops clearly isn't man-portable, being transported either via Chimera, Crussus, or even a Valkyrie, maybe dropping them behind enemy lines with supporting Psions or Khazrakans on sabotage missions. As referenced earlier, a Cyclops would require investment from a resource and manpower point of view, or for a vehicle that would only serve the Emperor only once, albeit with truly glorious results. This is an area of potential debate, given the story of the Astra Militarum is that of trillions of troops and billions of tanks sometimes simply being poured onto the enemy, with Lord Generals having little regard for millions of casualties, and freshly recruited Guardsmen having an average lifespan of just 15 hours when first deployed to the battlefront. Why would they then invest into the manufacturing costs, resource getting into the battlefield, and training a special Guardsman to operate it, when they could simply push forward 500 Guardsmen from the Death Corps of Krieg? This may be one of the few aspects of the 40k story where the lives of the Guardsmen are actually valued. There could be situations where to achieve the same destructive results would require the expenditure of so many Guardsmen that even the most insidious of commissars would go pale at the thought. Therefore, the Cyclops would be truly treasured by the Guardsmen that it's supporting, giving them more time to serve the Emperor of Mankind and delaying their arrival next to him on a golden throne. I do want to reiterate that 1 ton of explosives is an insane amount. Another historical reference is from the American Civil War, where 3.6 tons was detonated underneath the Confederate lines. Granted, that's nearly 4 times as much explosives. It left a crater 52 metres long, 35 metres wide, and 9 metres deep. So using basic math, that means a Cyclops would leave a crater of about 14 metres long, 9 metres wide, and 2 metres deep if exploded underground. Aside from the vehicle-borne IEDs I spoke about earlier, there aren't really any modern-day equivalents to the Cyclops, with the simple reasoning being that there probably isn't actually a need for them. The Ukraine war is demonstrating that cheap aerial drones can deliver pinpoint accuracy, and artillery and missile strikes are becoming even more accurate as technology progresses. So there probably isn't actually a role for a 1.5-ton tracked mini-sized vehicle, explosive laden, that needs to get really close to the enemy, probably being easily spotted by the enemy, and being knocked out by medium-fire weapons. Like in my other videos, we should always ask if such a thing is actually needed. Everything takes investment to produce, and even with the limited resources of the Imperium, decisions must be made. However, like other vehicles in the 40k being covered with a seemingly ridiculous amount of firepower, the Cyclops Demolition vehicle exists in a time where there is only war. So every possible angle of destruction should be explored. Right, so a pretty quick video this time. It's a pretty simple topic. I do think the Cyclops Demolition vehicle is perfectly realistic, given the German Goliath vehicle in World War II, and also the vehicle-borne IEDs that we discussed from the Iraq-Afghan conflicts. A massive bang being delivered that probably isn't really brought to life with the current rules set in the tabletop game, although exploring how realistic the tabletop game would be an even sillier exercise in this video, but potentially quite fun to do. What do you think? Should I do a video on how realistic the 40k game is? Let me know in the comments. So if you enjoyed this video and want to support me, you can do so with a like, comment, sharing this video, or subscribing to the channel. I've also got a Patreon platoon if you're feeling super generous, but simply watching any of my other videos really helps as it all boosts the YouTube algorithm. I'm an Astra Militarum variety channel covering everything from the hobby aspect, tactics, and the lore like this video here. Massive thanks to my current supporters. So keep your bayonet sharp, las gun oiled. Fed from the Emperor strong. Petrol platoon, sound off. Tank Commander Glenn. Tank Commander Watchdog Van Etten. Tank Commander Mitchell. Lieutenant Burke Nielsen. Lieutenant Smith. Colour Sergeant DuPont. Sergeant Adal, Scott, the Colonel Merrill, Veteran Gibson, Hall, Lundeen, Guardsman Beard, Coquelin, Flint, Hills, Malik, Nitton, Nguyen, Tom, Tompkin, Conscript de Paz, England, Evan Gunn, Gillian, Goodwin, King.